Open Mic. I am your host, Jennifer Juneau, and tonight we have booked Bonnie Finberg and Proctor. As you see, Shades of Green is a wonderful place. Please support the venue. They have excellent food, excellent drinks. Show them some love. They are amazing. So a big shout out goes out to them for housing us. It's fantastic. Also, I ask that a $5 donation is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much to everybody who contributed. Without further ado, I am going to announce our first feature tonight. Matt Proctor is a poet and performer, currently living in Manhattan. He's the editor of Easy Paradise, and his poems have appeared in Peach, Ariadne, Wedgie, and elsewhere. His poetry reality show, Scenes from a Life, was a recipient of the 2018 First Amendment Award from Brick and Ayers, Mondays at 11 p.m. on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. You can follow him on Instagram at Comfort Art. Okay, well, you know what? You can see him afterward. I'm sure you're going to be really happy with his performance. Welcome, Matt Proctor.
I've got books for sale up here for my Rockcore edition. So I do a running serial micro diary series for my Rockcore. They're almost like comic books. They're like little chat books, and so it's my diaries over time. And so I have a whole collection over here. And I also have these kind of longer books. LA Story. This is sort of like a novelization. I have a poetry reality show that airs every Monday on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, public access television, and it's sort of like a visual poem. It's like my consciousness on TV. It's first person, and I write these diary poems, and they're sort of like internal monologues. So the books are kind of companions. Thank you. The books are kind of companions to the series. I'm going to read one of my recent sort of internal monologues. This is for Jennifer Juneau. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here. 8:31, Yankee Rose. Last night I enrolled in clown school. Happiness masterclass. Found my light. The youth shall inherit the earth. They're friends of mine. Come sage my house. Juggling microphones, treating objects like mermen. Sponsored by Jack Daniels. This reading is sponsored by Jack Daniels. Weekday brunch class. Have to hit 88 miles per hour before I hit the wall. Blast into the future. Animated film where every frame is an actual painting. Oil on canvas, photograph 24 works per second. Rage fucking all these time chairs. Sit back and relax. I should have gotten in the shower with you. See Jennifer Juneau, red light at Bleecker and Hudson, riding her bike. We have a brief, nice conversation, and she's off at the green light. That's a true story. Out front of Gourmet Garage. Dreams come true. I come in too. Peter Parker and Mary Jane with Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. He blocked my web shooting with microphone feedback, and she tells me I seem familiar. I have to stay in the game. I'm so close and good to the last drop. So you can see the serial numbers are identical. Friendly rivalries passing by, springing on him at the last minute like a first kiss. Troubadour George Strait. I got my MFA from the streets of New York. The streets of Boston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Paris, New Orleans, Austin, Nashville, Cleveland, reading my poetry in bars, open mic nights, 2 features and a sign-up sheet on your right, 2 poems are 3 minutes, 1 poem 2 minutes, 2 songs $5, 5 minutes, 3 songs or 12 minutes. Buy an item from the bar. Turn off the fucking music in the bar. Matt Proctor's reading his cosmopolitan micro diaries.
Yes.
Thank you. We love it. Thank you. Thank you. Everything's good. It's all good. I can read with the music. I love the Strokes. I'm a musician. I want to have a great time. I want everybody to have a great time. I don't want to yell or freak anybody out. Having to listen to every unknown poet anonymous in the United States and abroad, other languages, mimes. Guitars. My favorite reading was two indigenous poets visiting from Michigan. It was a rainy night. Very few people showed up. They brought the rain down in silence and walked off, reminding me of my father in their t-shirts and blazer, hip guy attire, getting to know all the poets of the world, because that is the most interesting. And why was I not consulted? She's getting emails from Ann Carson. She's friends with Ann Carson. I jacked off into a tissue. No more, Butchie. And I want to say, that's a line from The Sopranos. The thing about I jacked off into a tissue, that's what Phil Leotardo says about how he's been in jail. He's been in jail, he's been eating mozzarella from the radiator, and he's been jacking off into a tissue. No more, Butchie. Need to make things hard, to seem like I'm doing something. Looking backs in the cracks of the F-tie going out hits different. Don't look down, you might see you're standing on a cloud.
Wow.
So now, thank you. We're going to go back in time. So that was like a more recent piece. This is a piece that I wrote in 2013, I think, called War and Peace.
What street?
Let's rev it up, baby. Let's waste and break. Let's die till we die. Beauty never speaks, only metabolisms. Red ears soloed like cups. The lady sat on her leg proffering sword. I nexted it, wanting instead to repurpose the bright decals over my face. The channel where they kept sex. Masses fattened into cotton, coddled, waddling. I request another word, the whisper kernel. Hairline fractured in radiology, my gripes pitch songward. Mom saying she should have brought War and Peace, it's been so long. Fresh stitches, and now I go to Tolstoy's estate each spring when everything's drooling. We barely touched, or maybe it was just me. Had faster access to my parents when the sound blared and they died. People who knew how to forget years of being born and losing it right away. The way the foreign tongue is melodic, things trying to make sense and failing. I have to go now. I have to go back to work. Okay, this is for my highly controversial sex book, which I never read from. It's not even available in this country. You have to get it through my European publishers because it's so obscene. It's been banned. This is called I Sleep in Half. As day rises up my window, I'm a thin half and long with the sun. A carton of Neapolitan ice cream melting into morning, afternoon, night. A line break is almost melodic, like changing chords, then changing back. I listen to a lot of good advice, still don't know how not to lose everything. I like it when it's raining. Spent the last 2 years on drugs and wanted to go further into drugs. It's hard to change without wanting to get revenge. It's hard to change without changing. All these days hanging off of me, I don't know what to do with them. 6:15 approaches gently. I take a cab there, rescheduling the unknown. I don't observe anything but the sound of sound. It's not meaning. I love it when the night opens its mouth to sing lightly its stars, a sequence of curves. Don't you think it's incredible when I hold the night, it's shaped like you? Two more pieces. They're kind of longer pieces. This first one's a few minutes and then the next one. So they're audio podcasts. It's called Work Trip. So this was a trip I took to San Francisco in 2016, before, everything happened. Work Trip. My favorite movie is Any Window, dollying the parallax, the landscape suggesting topics. A reminder of autumn came in from the July Bay today, moody air working its way into the sinuses. I looked at Oakland, could see the there, It was right downtown where it always is. A regular plain stand of popsicle buildings, skyscrapers attaining the minimum height. Nice companion piece to the thin wafer of old Frisco. Tunnel pulled over, smell of pleather and wet hair. Located right next to the emergency exit. My unkempt personality. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't. Which is why I never talk. A salad bar emerges from the parched, retching grass. The tracks pigeon-toeing into the distance. This week I'm in Mountain View. Incredible tufts of cloud like God's thought bubbles. Google Shuttle take us anywhere we want to go. But I forgot I left my nuggets of wisdom back at the hotel. I never know what to say next, which is always the risk when one talks. You just have to try without trying. That's the inconvenient secret to life, and everything else. Is the crossing sign angry? We have a president named Barry. Isn't that enough? The train is yelling and throwing furniture, raging all the livelong day. A cool skull in black fog declares the underpass column legit. San Francisco, Collins hoodie reads. I went to the wrong ecology with the word improperly from the east, where elbow pads are wrapped in burlap sacks and the coins have a strong resolve to vanish into the signage. The train stops to load and breathe. The wind points no direction at all. Most heavy machinery seems lazy. Backhoes sitting on their asses collecting a union wage. Hank Chanowski flew here on a private jet for a reading once. I'm watching a doc about it. Let your mouth speak, heavy beauty, he says. Take the stars out back and go blam. America's a great yard. This train has moved far. A straight line poking into the distance, growing wings, climbing the non-refundable ladder to heaven. I witness an exquisite quilt of farms, deep resting grass, quietly sipping the Mississippi. The floods crown and digress. Brown drink tripped its bank and passed out on the bedspread of the plane. Back in New York, it's the hot part of the year. Just under 100, the pilot says, when I get home. When I get home, my room is a time capsule of who I was 3 weeks ago. Thank you again to the Phoenix, Dee Dee and Jennifer for having me. It's really an honor. I've never been asked to do a feature before, so thank you so much. I love this series. It's great. All the poets you read, all the artists. I'm really honored and proud to be a part of this. So this is a recent piece from a chapbook I put together in tribute of Jack Kerouac's 100th birthday. So this will be the last thing I read. Thank you again. Check out my YouTube page. I have DVDs of my poetry reality show if anybody wants to check that out. They're companions to the chapbooks. So sit back and relax. This is Hot and Ready. Silent Street. Let's not and say we did. A pox of city bikes upon us. Cello and gutter moon townhouse, West 4th banks down and to the right. Poor party West 11th in costume, wish I could party with them. Hanging flyers of Jack Kerouac's face from 27th Street Car Wash to Bowery and 3rd. Really like your tattoo, the layering. In my schedule for you, go away. The party at Art Bar I go to every night, sitting on the Labo's bench, a cold wind of moonlight. Jack midway between Bank and Jane. Reappearance well-worn tracks. Sorry experiments, but all this stuff I didn't intend. James calls it my jazz cigarette. I tell him, Navy gravy, trying to be gross old guy, which I guess is who I am. Who I bring to the table? McAllen's 12-year, McSorley's dark ale. Maybe I'll stop into McSorley's for a dark. A call for investment in Irving's daybook. 40% Williamsburg, accidental Ginsey stubbing my toe like Stubby K. Getting into some shit copping drugs in New York. Copping drugs in New York on 42nd Street. Head tennis racket she carries silently like a weapon down West 4th, which used to be called something else. Let me look it up. Arrow Street? Hell with it. I'm here now. It doesn't really go forth, but diagonally up, slicing the progressively numbered parallel undergrid streets, also skewed crossward toward the river like they tipped or fell off the table. Cubbyhole renovations stop the destruction. Hope they don't ruin it, wheeling bricks out in reliable wheelbarrows. Guys from New Jersey confidently demolishing what remaining beauty from F-350, Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Ram. Clay Travis, Brian Kilmeade, the Radio City pirated by fleece-vested investment bankers, finance and tech criminals of all stripes. Should be in stripes. I am in stripes. Hijacking, slashing, cutting, ripping the guts out of old buildings. The reach around kings. Credit debit swap meals. User software dates. Six-pack. This dark, hateful energy startles in a pack of violent white men, abrasive in presence, domestic violence, bad vibe, or they'll make fun of you just by waiting at the traffic light. Not all attention is good attention, even in an attention economy. Zelda lent her bus on the brown stoop outside Amphora Tavern on Jane. Stefan's cake shop is looking great, with marble and cursive script in French. My life in installments on the wall facing Hudson. Robux skip this part. Ask Mamu for a game for $60. Reservations at Food Pod Dorsia. Beware interesting empires. Violin Gym Chic. Lived here. Raymond Pettibon retweeting my flyer. Praise from Caesar. Greatest flyer artist of all time. Viewed his new museum retrospective 2017. I think it was in memory. I like your eyes of fiction. Goodbye. I like her as a friend. We're going down West Charles. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Removed from life support after suffering 3 heart attacks by his best friend and fellow founding member of the New World Order, big sexy Kevin Nash. Almost like an episode of Nitro, click pack and tag team partner having to say goodbye and put his buddy down. Raymond Pettibon is liking a lot of my tweets. Should I slide into the DMs? I like his pseudo-Elizabethan spelling irregularities and breaching Prince Hal grammar. Fear of not having it out when you enter a conversation. How do we do it so much? Relax, order a splitter for the antenna. The ionic skyscrapers are broadcasting hectic mind signals. Edmund Wilson slept here, Nile Rodgers too. Fuck fast, fascinating bastards of Percy Street. Text me bread and butter of the disgusting outback. It's after my bedtime. Copywriting mailbox. Need to text Longback 7 months later. After winter, open city closing again. On the verge of collapse. Fleeing to the sun. Hermaphrodite Antilles watching your every move. You go, girl. Rest in peace, Angel Barbara Mayer. Singing teacher, beloved spirit of Lower East Side. Gathering friends mooring at Pangea this Saturday. A dictionary of saints. Church split in half on 2nd and East 7th. See the sky in place where stained glass no longer hangs. Philip Glass lives a few blocks south. Malcolm Cowley walking his dog. Brooke Shields outside Black Derby waiting generously for her car. Andre Gregory lives on Perry and Kenneth Coates' old brownstone. Hart Crane, I have disgraced myself. Lou Reed, I'm coming on. A few appearances early from the early 70s. Cello, violins, sirens, tartine corners, Tiffany awnings, extra virgin, St. Ambrose, headlights and Ubers drastically under-reading houndstooth raincoats. Fall over to tomorrow. Today is the tomorrow we worried about yesterday. I have 2.5 years on you. Wishing Haley Bieber salvos of speedy recovery. Fuck a shelter. I'll live on the H. Shit posting on Maine. Shadows of Jack the Ripper. True crime podcasting. Restaurants falling an unsuspecting but hungry public. casting a pall in all social interactions. The moon is a subway token. Students of New School, FIT, NYU, stride up 7th Avenue like they own the place. Shit on their CIA, denying Bohemia its rightful nest. Dockside Row on air messages, drinking in the sun, drinking it in. Having the RNC here in 2004 laid the groundwork, it's almost over, laid the groundwork for Pinks to feel comfortable in urban beauty. 9/11, a big wrecking ball, hauled weird stain upstate, choking on the hymns of the ocean. William Hurt died. Many elders are passing. I fearlessly leap faithful, ignorant of evil in a battle for rims of immortal beauty. Crazy T, it's only summer once, put it on my permanent record, give it to me straight. Finding sauce in Amelia's daughter, completely denying men, entwined drew us into its wine cellar basement. No way could we afford it. Condemning the pandemic, the weather in Florida, easy like that frankly dollar on time. Don't take your French so complicated, Laura Nyro sings. Plumbing and mechanical, I'll be the judge of that. Tracking number put a QR code on my will to power. Helen Frankenthaler, Jane Freilicher, Emily Quarles, Nicole Quarles. Lords of the realm. Transactional nature of my approval doesn't come back like a boomerang that stopped working. I'm aiming for dinner and having it twice. Tavern on Jane, patio Amphora. Ruby went out of business. That sacred track near Stanley's. She's actually too home in time for Purim. System Lord show for Emily's art closing, exporting it to the Dickens. People at the subway stop have low seniority. Oh, that's right. Not Arrow. Asylum Street. After the Orphan Asylum Society between Bank and Troy. Now West 12th. Demolished 1833. Shifting armor candles and windows at Beatrice Inn. Les Trois Chevaux. Corner Bistro. Swing by Art Bar. And on home.
Let's give Matt another round.